Space Rogue, also known as Sub-Zero Gu in Japan, is a science fiction computer game released in 1989 by Origin Systems, makers of the hit Ultima series, for the Apple II and Commodore 64. The series was later ported to MS-DOS, Macintosh, Amiga, Atari ST. The game was also released in the Japanese language for PC 9801, X68000, and FM Towns. The FM Towns version had its intro remade with slight animations and new illustrations, along with scrolling Japanese text. The FM Towns version also had exclusive CD-quality background music. The game combined elements of both a space combat simulator and a role-playing game, like the much later X, Rebirth and Elite Dangerous. It is notable for being the first game designed for Origin by Paul Neurath, who went on to found Blue Sky Productions, later renamed Looking Glass Studios. Space Rogue can be considered as the spiritual predecessor to Origin's Wing Commander series. The press release for Space Rogue stated that it is the first of its kind in science fiction, 3D space flight simulation, an Origin cinematic experience, implying that Space Rogue was originally meant to be a series of its own, Ultima in Space, before later on Origin turned to the Wing Commander series instead. Night Dive Studios reacquired the rights and re-released it on GOG.com. Story. The player takes on the role of a crew aboard the Princess Blue, who was sent by his captain to investigate a small derelict spacecraft, the Sunracer-class Jolly Roger. While he is on board the Jolly Roger, a group of aliens called the Manchies attack the Princess Blue using their Vulture-class ships, destroying it. Left only with the Jolly Roger, little money, and no ties to anyone. The player can now decide his fate from there. He could engage in piracy, hunt bounties, become an interstellar merchant, or become embroiled in the interplanetary politics. Gameplay. The game is played switching back and forth between a traditional top-down style RPG, e.g. Ultima, and a 3D space combat simulator, e.g. Elite. Visiting starships, space stations, outposts, planets, and so on. The player is able to travel from one solar system to another using the ancient Malir Gates wormhole, a form of Stargate. A mini-game of traveling through rings must be successfully completed first before the player can reach his intended system. A failed mini-game will cause an aborted interstellar travel. During the 3D space flight part of the game offers 3 points of view: first person, a chase behind the craft, and cinematic. There is also an arcade game called Hive in the bars, that can be played by the player. The gameplay is a 2D top-down shooter, with the player moving on foot, attacking the incoming Manchies. The ship in the arcade game resembled the Sunracer-class ship featured in the manual that came with the Space Rogue game. After completing 5 levels, the player can win money which can then be spent in the rest of the Space Rogue game. Reviews. The game was reviewed in 1990 in Dragon Number 153 by Hartley, Patricia, and Kirk Lesser in The Role of Computers column. The reviewers gave the game 4.5 out of 5 stars. Computer Gaming World called Space Rogue an interesting blend of arcade action, role-playing interaction and economic strategy. Compute stated that The best of flight simulation and role-playing come together in Space Rogue. Believably and with style. ZZAP 64, issue number 58, 1990. I thought Elite could never be beaten as the greatest ever space game, but after playing Space Rogue for hours on end I've changed my mind. This totally outclasses Elite and is the best space game for any machine.